Won't you be my Hallowtine? Welcome back to day 3 of Hallowtines Day, guys. This is Priscilla at releasethecraftin, and you are, if you're just now joining me, thanks. I really appreciate it. If you have been with me this whole time, welcome back. How's it going? How are you doing? How's the family? We are in a week-long Hallowtines Day challenge. I will put all the relevant information you need to know down below. If you'd like to join in, the prompts, everything available. There's also an announcement video. Check that out for more information. If you're already caught up, then you know where we're at. It's day 3. What are we making, you say? Boom! We're making little heart-shaped bookmarks. So you want to see how I made this? Let's go. Okay, so to start, you need a couple of things. I'm using some recycled Cheerios cereal box packaging and a scrap piece of cardstock. I have some scrap fabric that I want to use up, so I'm going to use that. And then I have this sticky note, which is not a requirement. It's just because I wanted this size square for what we're doing here. I'm going to sew mine for this one, but you do not need to sew. That is not a requirement. It's totally possible to make this without sewing anything. I made my test run template with a glue stick. So it's possible. So just knock over all your pens and then stay tuned. So to start out with, the first thing we need is to come up with our little heart-shaped template. And how you're going to get that is by folding this on the diagonal. So you're going to need square paper in the size that you relatively want your heart to be. This is a sticky note, so that is like 2 by 2. How big are things? 2.5? 3 inches. I don't know how big things are. So it's like a 3-inch square, a little bit over 3 inches. This isn't like a standard size. So if you want to make one that's the same size as mine, cut a 3 by 3 square out of some paper. You're going to cut this up more anyway, so there's that. But before you cut anything out, before you do anything else, you're going to fold this little triangle, and then you're going to cut a little triangle that is this size out of your fabric. Let me see. I have this piece here that's smaller. And you can make a mark on your fabric however you want. I'm going to use a marker because you guys can see it better when I do it that way. You can eyeball it if you feel pretty clever, but I don't. Oopsie. So you need one triangle, roughly the same size as your folded triangle. And then you're going to put your marker away for no reason because you still need it. On your triangle, you're going to draw just an arch. And you want to make sure it's a pretty curved arch. It doesn't have to be perfect though. You can also achieve this with like a circular object, like a paint bottle. I'm okay freehanding mine and just making small lines to get the shape that I want. So arch. Then we're going to cut it out. Now we're not going to pick up the pens we knocked over. That's a later job for later, Priscilla. So, just going to cut around that line. Don't worry about getting it perfect either, because you can always clean it up if you don't like the shape that you have drawn. But the important thing is to cut it this way so that you have a 90-degree angle to work with, so it will hold onto your page. So yes, I like this shape. It is very heart-shaped. So the next thing I need is to draw out some hearts. So you need 3 hearts. And for the sake of conserving fabric that's already scraps, but I don't want to utilize more than I need to, it might even be better, yeah, because I don't have a more regular shape piece. So, before you settle on your final form, you need about a 1/4 of an inch of space to go around your heart. But what I like to do is trace this out so I know exactly where to line up my chipboard pieces with. Just be mindful if you're using a marker to mark these out. It may bleed through your fabric. So if you have a fabric pencil or a chalk pencil or something, that would probably be better for mark making. But I'm not really worried because we're going to decorate this at the end. So any bleed through will be covered up. Plus it's a black piece of fabric anyways. And then I'm just going to roughly draw out a 1/4 of an inch. If you trust yourself with eyeballing, you can just eyeball this. But it's easier for me to draw it out, so. And also this redraw does not have to be perfect either. You just need to give yourself some slack, because that's the part that's going to wrap around your chipboard. So there's your first heart. Then you're going to cut out 1 2 size on your cardstock. And it's super easy because it's a right angle, so you just got to match it up to the corner piece. And then carefully, but not that carefully, doesn't matter, draw around our heart. So there's 1, and then 1 on our chipboard. And then after you're done tracing these out, you're going to cut them out. So we'll be back after I cut these out. Okay, so we got our little templates cut out. We don't need this little paper one anymore. You can scrap that, save it as your forever template, whatever. We have our little triangle piece and all 3 of our heart pieces. So we're going to take our cardstock and we're going to stick it down here with some glue stick. If you are not going to sew, then you probably want to use a better fabric glue for this. I'm just going to stick it down here and get a nice adhesion there. And like I said, I did my template with the glue stick, so it is possible to do this entire project with the lowest school grade supply you have available. So if you don't have any fancy supplies, but you have a glue stick, you can make this. Just be aware, like, you're going to have to use a lot of that glue stick to make it stick, and it's probably not going to last, like, the test of time. So better glue is a better idea. Then what we're going to do is, like, cut out some score lines. I have some particularly sharp scissors. I don't have fabric scissors because I'm not a professional. And I'm just going to make these little cuts right up to our cardstock line all the way around. Probably, like, a centimeter apart or so. And this is going to help the fabric lay, like, really nice and flat and flush. And you don't particularly have to do it on this long side, but I still like it because it gives me some wiggle room. But it is a straight edge, so it will stick down a lot easier here. And then, when you get to the bottom, cut like, I don't know if you guys can see that. I cut a little bit before, like, the point end, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side, a little bit before the point. All the way up to the cardstock. And then I'm going to cut straight up where it splits, being careful to not cut all the way through the little diamond that I just made. And I'm just going to keep going. Cutting my little pieces. Okay, so now that those are all cut around, I'm just going to take my glue stick again, and starting kind of high up here on the side, and get like a nice little layer down, and just start working my way around with these pieces. And like I said, I'm going to be sewing mine down, but if you're not, then use your fabric tack here. It'll really help. And then I'm going to do the same on this other straight edge, leaving out that little diamond we made for the bottom. And if you feel like you're not getting it to lay as flat as you want, as you're working your way around, you can always cut another little slit to help you have some more like room. And we're just going to roll up these little pieces until they're flush. And then here in the bottom corner, I'm going to add a nice little amount of glue there. And then I'm going to do one little diamond at a time and line it up here. But actually line it up. And then the same, but going crosswise. And that'll give you like a really nice defined point. If you do it right. So you get like a really nice, strong corner piece there. And if you have any like little extra bits hanging off, you can always trim those off. I don't know if these scissors are sharp enough, but we'll give it a shot. They're not sharp enough. Sorry. I need to see. All right, and then I'm just going to finish going the whole way around, and I'll speed that up for you guys here. Alright, so now that I have all that glued down, I'm going to take it to my machine just like this and stitch around this. I could do it this way, but then like you run the risk of these little pieces coming up as they go underneath your little presser foot. So stitch it this way, so this way these will stay down. And I'm just going to give it a quick stitch. And then the other thing I'm going to stitch is this little triangle piece. So what I'm going to do is fold this over and give myself like about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, we're going to call it. Seam allowance. And I'm going to press that with my baby ass iron. Do you have to press it? No. I just feel more confident in pressing things like this. And I have baby ass iron, so like why not use it? Okay, so I'm going to sew across and then trim off these little extra pieces. And we'll come back. Okay, so I have stitched and stitched. And like I said, we're going to trim off the little extra overhang here. And don't worry about like making this perfect either, because you're not going to see these little corner pieces when we're done. That's just for the sake of my eyeballs. Okay, and then I think I forgot to mention that you need something to cover your little chipboard piece here. The reason I chose to use a chipboard piece for this is to give this a little bit of structure, because otherwise it's just like cardstock on cardstock, and that's a little bit flimsy, and I want this to be able to hold some weight, and also like the use of being a little bookmark corner top thing. So what I have is some of these digits from my kit. Whatever you use will be whatever you use. A little piece of cardstock would be nice. But I'm just going to cut out one of these hearts. Not like perfectly, but pretty close to, so I don't have to do any like fancy measuring later on. And be aware, like, whatever you put on the back is going to get mostly covered up anyway, so don't stress it. Alright. So before I glue anything down, I want to make sure that my chipboard does not peek out over the edges of my thing here. And it looks like it will a little bit, so I'm just going to, like, go in and sneaky snip some stuff off. So just keeping the shape, but cutting it down, like cutting down the profile a little bit. And that's just to prevent any spillage or showovers. Plus, it'll make it easier to line things up when you have a little bit of, like, space. Alright, let's see. Looks good to me. Get out of my way. So I'm going to glue this to this. The better glue that I've been using, because this is going to be the visible final product stuff. Although you probably still could use glue stick, because it's just paper to paper, or the paper of this little cereal box chipboard. I want a nice product. And then I'm going to pop that on here. This will be much simpler if you are using like a pattern cardstock, because you can just drop it on there and go. I'm just checking to make sure I got everything inside. Get stuff down nice, and then trim off the excess. And like I said, most of this is going to get covered up. So I'm not worried too much about it looking perfect. I can cover that with ink. Alright. So yeah, just a little wee bit off. Not too big of a deal. I'm going to mask that with ink. But after I drop my ink pad, it's a dropsy kind of day. Alright. See? Nobody knows. Alright. So there's that. And then we're going to take our little triangle piece. And you want to go about halfway, a little bit above, I'd say, where the straight edge becomes the rounded edge. Just a little teeny bit. So that you have a little gap around. And you're going to stick this down just on the back side. And you can use the same method you used to stick it to the heart, but you're going to stick just the back piece. Do not glue the front piece. If you feel like this isn't enough room to work with, you can always make your triangle smaller. So you can come further down if you need to. Okay, sorry, recut, I had to sneeze. So yeah, you can give yourself some more room if you need to. And then you're going to glue this to this. So like I said, this little corner piece isn't going to matter, but you're going to stick that piece in first. Like this. And then work your way around. I'm going to do that with glue stick this time to get a good lock in there. And then I will come back after I get everything stuck and show you guys what the next step is. Okay, so we have our little pieces stuck together, looking really great. I just set it down in a glue spot, so that's cool too. But this is going to be a little pocket that our page, like, that holds onto our page. So make sure to pull that really tight, and then make sure that as I was sticking it down, I got these little ends and the little corner end smooshed together really well, so that they will withstand the wear and tear of being used in a book. And now I'm going to decorate it. And one of the things I have that I thought was really cute is whenever I do like a resin pour for my other resin-y crafts, I pour whatever's left into a little mold. And these are like the Prima design molds. So this was like a leftover resin pour. It looks like this. It's nothing special. I'm not even worried about it having like bubbles or anything like that. It's just leftover stuff. And then I keep these little pieces so I can paint them and turn them into ephemera for something else. So normally I paint over these and make it look realistic. Or, you know, fitting whatever I'm making. But for this, I'm not going to do that because it's Hallowtines, so it should be like a little bit romantic, right? But I'm thinking this will make a really good centerpiece. And I have a bunch of like lace bits and bobs and stuff here. So I want to just add like a little cluster of lacy bits to our final piece. If you wanted to get like real galaxy brain here, you could have, before you stick those sides together, added like a little bit of trim like all the way around on the inside, and then stuck it together and have a pretty lacy thing. I didn't have the foresight to do that, so that's where we are today. I have this really pretty little red bit, and I bet like it'll look cute. So we'll just cut a little bit out and start building a little cluster with that. I think I want like the red pieces closer to the top. So maybe even we'll just cut a couple of scraps and see, or we'll make a couple of scraps because these aren't scraps. I'm making them into scraps and see what we come up with. Okay, so after some considerable amount of time drying and rethinking my design choices, this is what I ended up with. This is our little heart-shaped corner hugger bookmark spot. I will say I went over this with my heat tool to sort of speed up the drying process so I could finish up the video, and it had the inadvertent effect of melting some of my lace a little bit, but I think it added to the crinkly, wrinkly cluster texture I was going for, so I'm really happy with how that came out. But if you are using these metal roses like I am, they're hot and they stay hot when you use your heat tool on them for quite a bit, so just, you know, be advised and don't go smash your hand down on top of it to smoosh everything together like I did. But yeah, I am really happy with how this came out. I think it's super cute. I'm gonna give this as a gift. But yeah, it just tucks onto a page like that. Makes a really great like page holder, place mark, bookmark, and you can tuck more stuff into it if you want it to double as a pocket. And then, you know, you just have this really nice little giftable little heart to give away. And if you are wanting to use it as more of a ephemera piece, as words are really hard, as opposed to using it as like a little gift, like a bookmark thing to give away, I would make the decorations you put on top flat so that they lay nicely in your book. But because this is intended to be a bookmark gift, I've made mine chunky. And I can't wait to give it to my person. Isn't that great? I was really happy about this game out, guys, and I hope that you will give it a shot and try this along with me. If you were going to make it a bit of like corner hugging ephemera versus a bookmark, you could probably get away with using cardstock for both sides because it's not going to be doing the work of like coming on and off the page. But if you do choose to do that, I would recommend using at least a thin chipboard to give it some body because, like, yeah, this is a sturdy little dude. And that's me. That's it for day 3 of Hallowtines, like week. Hallowtines day, I was going to say, but yeah, it's a week-long Hallowtines. Check out April on her channel tomorrow at Pink Oddbird to see what she makes for day 4, which I believe is Cupid. So I'm really excited to see what she makes for that, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Till then, happy crafting. Bye. Also, I appreciate your faces. Happy Hallowtines Day. Bye.